deep in the Nevada desert. Behind mountains, barbed wire, and guards who wear no identifying insignia, lies a base the United States government denied for decades. Aircraft are forbidden from flying above it. Civilians are forbidden from approaching it. And even the people who work inside are transported on unmarked planes with no public airline name. But the strange part is not that Area 51 is secret. The strange part is that aircraft which changed the history of warfare emerged from this desert years before the world knew they existed. Thousands of witnesses reported strange lights and unidentified objects moving through its skies, while the government knew something it was not prepared to explain. And when officials finally admitted the base existed, they revealed only a small part of the truth. The rest of the files remain classified. So what really happens inside Area 51? Is it simply a testing ground for secret aircraft and advanced weapons? Or were the stories of extraterrestrials the perfect cover for something more real and far more dangerous? This is not a story built on rumors. It is a story of classified projects, official admissions, and witnesses whose claims disappeared behind closed doors, and of a place where no one wants you to know what is happening inside. In 1955, almost no one outside the US military knew this place existed. It wasn't called Area 51, and it didn't appear on public maps. It was simply an isolated stretch of the Nevada desert, far from cities, and far from the eyes of the world. But that silent patch of land was about to become one of the most secretive locations in modern history. The CIA chose this location for one simple reason. It was remote enough to test an aircraft the world wasn't ready to see, a plane capable of flying higher than almost anything that existed at the time. Its name was the U-2. And no one knew that this single project would give birth to a legend that would last for decades. On August 1st, 1955, Lockheed test pilot Tony Levere was conducting a high-speed taxi test in the first U-2 at Groom Lake when the aircraft unexpectedly lifted from the runway, beginning the real story of Area 51. The plane had been designed to fly at extreme altitudes over the Soviet Union, photographing military bases and strategic installations while remaining difficult for the fighters of that era to reach. But the people watching from the ground had no idea such an aircraft even existed. They saw a silver object reflecting sunlight in the darker upper atmosphere, far above ordinary planes, and reported what appeared to be an unidentified flying object. Years later, the CIA acknowledged that flights of the U-2 and later the A-12 Oxcart accounted for more than half of all UFO reports during the late 1950s and 1960s. The legend of Area 51, therefore, was not created entirely by imagination. It grew from a real classified program whose technology looked to unsuspecting witnesses as though it had come from another world. For decades, the United States government did not need to claim that Area 51 was fictional. It simply avoided publicly acknowledging it. Inside classified programs, the site was known by several names: Groom Lake, Watertown, Paradise Ranch. Most workers were transported there by air, far from public roads and curious observers, while the personnel, flights, and projects surrounding the facility operated under extreme security. Because the real secret was not the buildings standing in the desert. It was what was being developed and tested inside them. If the government had acknowledged the facility, questions would have followed immediately. Why was it built? Who was working inside it? And what was leaving its runway after dark? So, the location remained hidden behind code names, classified documents, and programs whose details never appeared in public records. The purpose was not merely to hide a military base. It was to protect technology whose discovery could reveal American capabilities to its enemies. In 2013, official documents connected to the U-2 and Oxcart programs were released, containing clear references to the facility and a map confirming its location. After decades of mystery, Area 51 had finally become an officially acknowledged reality. But the documents did not reveal everything. They confirmed that some of the most advanced reconnaissance aircraft in history had been tested there. What came after those projects remained behind closed doors, and that raised a much more disturbing question. If yesterday's impossible aircraft were real, what could they be testing inside Area 51 today? After the success of the U-2, Area 51 was no longer simply a secret runway built for a single aircraft. It had become a hidden laboratory, one designed to test technologies that could not be revealed to the world. In 1962, the A-12 Oxcart, the successor to the U-2, began flying from Groom Lake. Its body was constructed primarily from titanium. It could travel at more than 3 times the speed of sound and operate at altitudes approaching 90,000 feet. At the time, these capabilities seemed almost impossible. The aircraft did not look as though it belonged to the present. It looked as though it had arrived from the future. The mission inside the Nevada desert soon expanded even further. The United States secretly acquired real Soviet fighter aircraft, including the MiG-17 and MiG-21. These aircraft were transported to the facility so American pilots, engineers, and intelligence officers could examine their performance, identify their weaknesses, and learn how to defeat them before facing them in combat. By the 1970s, however, secrecy at Groom Lake had entered an entirely new era. A classified experimental aircraft known as Half Blue was brought to the facility. Its unusual, sharply angled body was designed to scatter radar signals rather than reflect them directly back toward enemy detection systems. The aircraft looked strange, unstable, and unlike anything flying at the time. But the concept worked. Its secret test flights at Groom Lake helped prove that an aircraft could become extraordinarily difficult for radar systems to detect. That success eventually led to the development of the F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first operational stealth aircraft. These machines flew through American skies for years before the public even knew they existed. Anyone who saw them had only 2 choices. They could doubt their own eyes, or believe they had witnessed something that was not made by humans. Yet, every project revealed years later confirmed the same disturbing truth. Area 51 was never hiding fantasy. It was hiding the future, until that future was ready for war. Area 51's connection to extraterrestrials did not begin inside the facility. It began in the sky above it. During the late 1950s and 1960s, the U-2 and A-12 Oxcart flew at altitudes where the public was not accustomed to seeing aircraft. When sunlight struck their metallic bodies, while the ground below had already fallen into darkness, witnesses saw bright objects moving silently across the upper atmosphere. To someone who had no knowledge of these classified programs, the objects did not resemble ordinary aircraft. They appeared to belong to another world. Reports began to increase, and many reached Project Blue Book, the United States Air Force program responsible for investigating unidentified flying objects. Between 1947 and 1969, the program examined 12,618 sightings. 701 remained officially classified as unidentified. Afghanistan military. However, the officials who understood what was actually flying could not reveal the truth to investigators or the public. Explaining the sightings would have exposed secret reconnaissance aircraft, including their operating altitudes, flight paths, and capabilities, to the Soviet Union. As a result, some sightings remained publicly unexplained. Over time, that empty space became more powerful than the truth itself. People filled it with stories of flying saucers, captured beings, underground laboratories, and vehicles being dismantled and studied behind sealed doors. The CIA later acknowledged that flights of the U-2 and Oxcart accounted for more than half of all UFO reports during the late 1950s and throughout the 1960s. CIE. This does not prove that extraterrestrial vehicles were hidden inside Area 51, but it explains how the legend was born. People were witnessing something real, while the government was unable to tell them the truth. The more officials concealed, the higher the fences became, and the longer strange lights continued moving above the desert. The more believable the extraterrestrial explanation appeared. Then, in 1989, a man appeared on television and claimed that the mystery was not simply a misunderstanding. He said he had entered a hidden facility near Area 51 and that he had personally seen vehicles that were not built on Earth. His name was Bob Lazar. In 1989, a man appeared on Las Vegas television and claimed that he had worked near Area 51 inside a hidden facility known as S4. His name was Bob Lazar. Lazar said the government stored 9 flying craft inside hangars built into a mountain. His job, he claimed, was to understand one of them and help reverse engineer its technology. According to Lazar, the craft had no jet engine, wings, or familiar wiring. Instead, it used a reactor powered by a stable form of element 115, creating a gravitational field that allowed it to move silently. The story sounded impossible, but several details made it difficult to ignore. Lazar's name appeared in an old directory connected to Los Alamos, and a newspaper article from the 1980s described him as working there. However, this did not prove that he was a physicist, entered S4, or examined an alien spacecraft. Then the problems began. Lazar claimed that he studied at MIT and Caltech, yet no verified academic records, professors, or classmates supported the claim. He argued that the government erased his history, an interesting explanation, but one that cannot be proven. Element 115 was later created and officially named moscovium. However, its known forms decay almost instantly and do not match the stable fuel Lazar described. More than 30 years later, he has produced no spacecraft material, no decisive document, and no stable element 115. Yet his story survives. Perhaps he told the truth. Or perhaps he built the perfect story around the world's most secretive military base. After Bob Lazar, the question changed forever. Does Area 51 test only secret aircraft, or something humanity never built? In 2013, something the public had awaited for decades finally happened. Official documents named Area 51 and included a map showing its location near Groom Lake. The government had finally acknowledged the place it had avoided discussing publicly. But the revelation was not what conspiracy believers expected. The documents revealed no captured aliens or crashed spacecraft. Instead, they confirmed that the facility had supported the U-2, the A-12 Ox Cart, stealth development, radar testing, and the examination of secretly acquired Soviet fighter aircraft, and Sarkiv GDW-EDU. Even stranger, the secrecy did not protect aircraft alone. In 1974, astronauts aboard Skylab accidentally photographed the site from space. Government officials then debated whether the image should be released or concealed. The United States was worried about a photograph taken by its own astronauts of a location it still refused to discuss publicly in Sarkiv GW.edu. As more records emerged, they revealed project names, dates, accidents, and security concerns. Yet, entire passages remained hidden beneath black redactions. It was as if the government were saying, "Yes, the base exists, and this is all you are currently allowed to know." The files revealed yesterday's secrets. They said almost nothing about what may be happening there today. And that was the real surprise. The documents did not end the mystery of Area 51. They proved that many things once considered impossible had actually been real military projects. So if these were the secrets of the past, what is the secret of the present? This is where the internet stops providing certain answers. There is no official public list of the projects operating inside Area 51 today, and no clear view of what happens behind its hangar doors. However, the surrounding Nevada Test and Training Range supports operational testing, tactics development, and advanced training across air, space, and cyberspace. Nellis Air Force Base. We also know what kinds of technology the United States Air Force is testing today. Software designed to survive electronic warfare, advanced sensors and radar systems, autonomous aircraft, artificial intelligence, and simulations of battles that have not happened yet, AFTC. That makes an isolated facility like Groom Lake a logical place to test new stealth aircraft, classified drones, electronic warfare systems, or technologies too sensitive to fly near populated areas. But these are informed possibilities, not confirmed Area 51 projects. And that is what makes the facility different. In the past, it concealed aircraft that seemed impossible. Years later, those machines emerged and became part of history. Today, the secret may not be an alien spacecraft. It may be something far more real. An aircraft radar cannot track, a swarm of drones capable of making decisions together, or a weapon the world has not yet learned how to defend against. Perhaps the truth will only be revealed when the technology becomes outdated and safe to admit. Until then, lights will continue moving above the desert. The hangars will remain closed. And one question will survive. Is Area 51 hiding something from another world, or is it simply where the next world of warfare is being built?